Hello, Grumpy here. Welcome again. And with me is the young man, Chris Vanderstock. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Good, excellent. Thank you. He's a good boy. He does as he's told.
Mm.
So, Chris, you've got a few things to talk about tonight.
Yeah, Nigel. There's a few things, and the world's plodding along and slowly electrifying, and it's good to see that the Australian Tax Office is catching up, which is great news for a lot of people. There's a big, huge loophole in the new fuel efficiency standards that I think we should talk about because it's super annoying. And the final one is, how would you feel as a driver? Pretend you drive a petrol car, Nige. It's been a while, I know,
Yeah.
but just pretend. If you went to a supermarket and you couldn't park in some certain bays, and these are not charging bays, these are reserved for electric vehicles. So shall we get into those little fun, juicy stories, shall we?
And why not?
And the answer is yes. Yes, we shall, Chris. All right, here we go. So the first story here is the Australian Tax Office has finally caught up with 2024. Welcome, ATO. Allowing drivers to basically claim home charging, where in the past you really couldn't. Speaking from experience, because, a portion of the work that I do, YouTube pays me money for views and stuff like that. I typically work in the morning before I go to work. I go to my normal job. I might come back home and I do some more YouTube stuff. And I do that typically 4 days a week. And so the kilometers between two different workplaces are claimable. So this finally allows at 4.2 cents per kilometer for people to claim, charging costs at home. So for every kilometer you travel, you can actually say, hey, offset my tax at a rate of 4.2 cents. So in this story here, in drive.com.au, they give an example whereby, let's say you do 12,000 kilometers, business kilometers, and you charge at home, you can now offset $504 against your tax, against your income rather, to reduce your tax that you have to pay. I could say that better, but I think most people know how tax works in Australia. Because in the past, because in the past you couldn't actually legitimately claim this, and there was a petrol and a diesel sort of rate, but there was never an electric vehicle charging rate. And that's really, really quite annoying. But it's been resolved now. So this is brilliant. I'm very excited by this.
That is good news indeed for those that pay tax.
Yeah, right. Definitely. And, and I think I haven't done the math. So maybe, Nige, if you want to get the calculator out and get busy, I think at 4.2 cents per kilometer, that's pretty generous. In fact, that's extremely generous because, all right, napkin math now. Are we ready? So my Tesla Model Y does 15 kilowatt hours per 100 Ks. Yeah. So we'll work backwards from there. So for, let's say 100 Ks, so let's take a tenth of that. So it's doing 1.5 per 10 Ks. So it only costs me 8 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity. Yeah. So this rate isn't that, well, it's kind of close, but it's not really. But actually, I charge at home sometimes for free, don't I? So how can they can't? They're not asking you to demonstrate your electricity bill here. They're just asking for a log of your kilometers traveled as a business thing. So that typically involves 3 months of a logbook to demonstrate how many business kilometers you drive per year. So would this incentivize you, Nige? If you went in an electric car now, would you jump ship?
Well, no, because my tax is actually zero.
Retiree. You're a retiree.
I'm a retiree, although I do have investments that pay me an income. You can earn up to about $18,500 before you pay tax, and then being old bugger like I am, I get some other allowances. And according to my accountant, I can earn $24,000 or $25,000 before I start paying tax. Same for my wife. So, yeah, I don't actually pay tax. All the investments, when I get dividends, it's got a franking credit. I just get all that back at the end of the financial year.
Wow. That's pretty.
So, however, yes,
I wish I had that.
if I was paying tax, then I don't know what the petrol diesel allowance is for driving to and from, whether you would be given, you go and fill up with petrol and you can claim a portion of that according to the ratio of work miles to private miles. I don't know. This is just a flat rate, 4.2 cents per kilometre.
Yep. So yes, no, I think it's I think it might encourage some people. I doubt very much.
It's brought people into the 2024 era at long last with the tax.
Hey, finally,
there was very little they could do before, and trying to work out how much you spent on charging at home is, well, it's not the easiest thing in the world. You'd have to basically go out to DC chargers and have the bill from ChargeFox or whoever as proof of how much you've spent.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing as well, is that I think it's actually a real bonus for those who have lots of solar, who can charge their car for free. And also people on some electric vehicle plans like Origin and Ovo and others, where you get a period between 11 and 2 o'clock every day. The government don't know that. They're not asking for electricity bills or proof of payment. No, it's just kilometer logs. So I actually hope this might encourage people into EVs. So that's great. Next story is got this little nugget whereby it turns out our beautiful new vehicle efficiency standard laws have got a massive loophole in them. And so get this, if you're a vehicle maker, let's say Toyota, and you bring out a dirty, great big, heavy, gas-guzzling, polluting vehicle, name me a terrible vehicle that we don't like, Nigel.
Land Cruiser V8 diesels.
Sure, let's do that. Why not? Hugely oversized, heavy, emit God knows what into our lungs, into our brains and things like that. Well, it turns out that because the legislation comes in next July, July 2025, car makers can actually import these vehicles 6 months after that date. So we're talking the next 18 months, they can import as many as they want. And when they actually have got them in the stock, they can continue to sell them, and it won't affect the vehicle efficiency scoring, like the penalties that are associated with it, for the next 12 to 18 months. So effectively, they've just been given a 3-year free pass.
Yes.
Let's just let that sink in.
Our illustrious government, when they brought this in, said, look what good we're going to be doing sometime in the future, because we're just a bunch of weak piss artists. Sorry.
No, and that's the important point. That it was touted as getting us in line kind of with EU standards, and it kind of does, but it kind of doesn't. And also that it's is actually hindering our efforts to decrease our greenhouse emissions by effectively really 3 years.
Yes, I mean, this is, I think, Euro 5 standards equivalent.
Is it just?
Yes.
Serious?
Yes,
wait.
they're on Euro 6 and pushing for Euro 7, and this is Euro 5. And if you've got a big ute or pickup truck, as the Yanks say, that's fine. That's exempt because that's a work vehicle and truck, and that doesn't count.
Yeah, I know. And look, it's just grossly unfair on car makers. Let's say like BYD, that's fair, and Tesla, they only make electric, or rather, they only sell electric cars in Australia. No,
BYD are now doing the C-Line 6 and the Shark, which are going to be hybrids. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you can talk about that in a second, because I don't know about that one. So, okay. All right. Hold that thought. I think it's just, it again demonstrates that the concessions that government had to make to get this legislation through. We were offered up 3 different methods to get to, let's say, zero tailpipe emissions, aka fully electric, new cars only from 2030. I don't know. It's not very clear in this legislation. You could read it that way, by the way. I just think it's looking worse and worse as days go on, and this is surfacing now. It's like, obviously that wasn't in the fine print when the act was actually released. Anyway,
I expect it was, but just no one got round to studying it.
Well, yeah, okay, that's a fair point, and I did not study it either because I've got better things to do than read.
I mean,
acts of
when
Parliament.
they were touting this wonderful emission standards, we've got 3. We've got A, which is do absolute nothing. We've got B, which is the one we're actually going to do, which is do a little. And then we've got C, which is do a little bit more. But we're not going to do that one because we might lose some of our sponsorship money. I'm a bit sarcastic. It's all right.
Yeah, exactly. And when you say sponsorship money, what do you mean by that, Nigel?
Donations to the political party.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Funny that.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
All right.
I mean,
Well,
politics. Don't get me on what's happened in America. No.
Don't go there. Don't go there. So we could always change countries, okay? And maybe you and me and many fellow Aussies need to move to New Zealand, bro. Actually, I'll try saying that better, like a New Zealander. New Zealand,
no,
bro.
But New Zealand have stopped all subsidies for EVs. They're introducing a road user charge, and the number of new EVs being sold is plummeting. So I wouldn't want to move there.
Yeah, because the incentives have been taken away, right? And that's another episode on itself, Nige.
I've never got an incentive yet, so.
Oh, okay. Now this one's interesting in that you can see that picture there with the reserved electric vehicle, reserved for low emission vehicles. So this is a priority parking offered at 5 of Woolworths stores in New Zealand. I think to try and encourage people to go electric. And you can't see it here right now, but I guarantee you there's actually a petrol car parked in it right now.
I was going to say, look, low emission. So, someone with their Toyota Corolla will go, well, I'm low emission. I'll park there, bugger it.
Yeah, exactly. Who's really going to police that? And in Australia, the issue we have is, private car parks can't be done by council officers, fined, that is. The police could do it, but as if the police are going to spend their time coming out to find people, and that's more around electric vehicle charging. So actually I went off topic, Nige. I went off topic. I did a typical Facebook forum thing. Sorry. Anyway, so allocating 30 spaces out of a total of 200. All right, so somebody?
It depends upon where they put them. You see, one thing that we've got, certainly around here, free chargers at supermarkets. They got 1, 2, or 3. They haven't got a huge number.
Yeah.
But they're going to put them right by the entrance.
They did?
Well, what's going to happen? They're right by the entrance, so the bloke in his Fiat, Sahara, Toyota, Land Cruiser drives up and parks there because it's close.
Yeah, of course.
And there's no penalty for parking where it's EV charging only.
Yeah.
So I've always told these, I talked to a few shopping centre managers about when you're going to stick in EV chargers, blah, 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 blah. And when you do, put them over there away from the front entrance and mark them EV charging parking only. And then you won't get them being blocked by internal combustion engine vehicles. And I'm sure that, it's a good idea, well done, Woolies. Thank you very much. But I know what's going to happen. The V8 diesel Land Cruiser is going to go, guess what? I'm low emissions.
Exactly.
Because I don't come under the emissions control, so I must be all right.
Yeah. Now you can see this. This is a Woolies over in Port Melbourne. and they've got some just destination charges here. They're not actually, is it a Tesla one? I forget. There's some unbranded ones here. There might be a Tesla one as well. Yeah,
But there is a Tesla parked there.
yeah, and there's three. I think it's three bays as well from memory, and that's the entrance all the way over there, just like what you said, far
Yeah.
away. You know,
Look, I don't have a problem with that, and it's even
Yep.
undercover. So when you're walking, even if it's chucking it down with rain, you're
Yep.
still going to keep dry.
Exactly. So yeah, if you do your half-hour shop there, I don't know, you might get about 30 or 40 kilometers of free, electricity, which is great.
Yeah,
I like
why
that.
not?
Thank you, Woolies. And yeah, and Woolies, can you bring up these priority bays to Australia? I'd like to see the News Corp media handle that one.
Well, look, Stockland shopping centres have got a policy of having, I think it's 4 charging bays at each shopping centre that for electric vehicles and putting chargers in for them. There's only 3 where I am, but they only had 2 before that.
Oh,
So they've gone on one old J1772 Type 1
Yeah.
broke, and they replaced it with a Schneider dual port. And there's a Tesla one there that's Tesla only.
Okay. All right. So do you reckon by doing this at Woolworths, will that enrage a lot of people, or will that encourage a lot of people?
Yes, I'm hopeful that it's going to encourage people. Woolworths are now going electric delivery vans, because you can do your order online and they'll deliver it to your front door. They're doing that with electric vans.
Exactly. Yeah, and IKEA too. I see them quite regularly around me. Seriously, I'm impressed.
We've got an IKEA in Perth, but there's no chargers near it, and they don't have electric vans for delivery. So, but it would be nice if some of these people got on board. So, look, I think Woolies are doing the right thing. Trying to encourage low emissions and using their electric delivery trucks. I think this is good.
Exactly. So no, it's all good things.
That's a Sydney event.
Yeah, and it's a bit old now, this one, but yeah, they're around. So yeah, it's good. It's good things. It's good things. I see them quite regularly in my area, and I'm around work. In Flemington, Melbourne area. So anyway, all right, that's it for me. That's what I've got for you this week, Nigel. What have you got for me?
Okay, right. Now then, I've got to remember how to share things.
One job.
Here we go. Yes.
No
right.
pressure.
So, we were talking about BYD earlier.
Yeah.
And they've got the C-Line 6 coming, which is you can order it now, which is a hybrid, and they've got the Shark, which is a pickup truck, or Ute, which is a hybrid.
Yeah.
But they're also now looking at getting the C-Line 7, which is basically, it's a Model Y competitor.
Cool.
I don't know what you think about BYD, but I think they're quite nice cars. I'm not too sure about the company that's importing them, but the cars are okay.
Oh, Nigel.
Hey, look, my name's Grumpy, all right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Look, this C-Line 7, it's a Model Y competitor. It's virtually the same size. It's a few centimeters lower in height, but it's a few centimeters wider and longer. So, and it's got the LFP battery in it. Pricing wise, there's no pricing for Australia yet. But if you do a little bit of extrapolation, what it is in China compared to the Tesla Model Y in China, you can get the Model Y here for just over 60,000 plus you're on roads. I reckon it's going to be a few $1,000s cheaper than that, possibly even down to 55 for the base model, maybe. So if we go down here, that's got its dimensions: 71.8 and 80.64 kilowatt hour batteries.
Wow.
2 rear wheel drive, so 170 and 230 kilowatts, and a dual motor performance, which basically offers 390 kilowatts. Yeah, I do hate this when they go CLDC.
Yeah. Now, how does that compare? Just that power output there. What's the Model Y? Do you know? I think
Ah,
240 is about the standard range, the entry level, like, my one.
what the power?
Yeah, you know what?
Power.
I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Yeah, I'll keep talking. So it varies the driving range from 550 to 610 kilometers. Now that's
Hmm.
CLTC, so take a fifth off. So I would say that's more like 450 to 500 range. But even so, if that's
Yeah.
base model 450, that's slightly more than a Model Y.
Okay.
Which,
Just thinking about that Chinese cycle though, isn't it very generous, like NEDC?
yeah, yeah. Look, I'd take even a third off if you
I,
like.
I would take a third off.
Yeah,
And just FYI for all the viewers out there, the Tesla Model Y, the standard range with the single motor is 220 kilowatts of power, and the long range is 286 kilowatts of power. And I will find the performance model in a momento. But yes, that's they're good. They're good specs. What they've got there. That's good
yeah. And
specs.
look, I think that it's a very reasonable car. I think it's actually nicer looking than the Atto 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the interior of the Atto 3 is a little bit iffy. But
Mm.
pricing in China is 39,000 to 49,000, which undercuts the Model Y by a fair amount. So
Mm.
over there, the Model Y is 51,600.
Yeah.
So here it's 60,500, give or take.
Mm.
So, if that comes in the low 50s.
Yeah. And it well could. It could probably if I was BYD, as the next sort of stretch goal for people who are looking at the brand, I would have it 55 to 57K. That would
Yeah,
be
55,000. I wouldn't be going over that because once you start to get close to the 61,000 base Model Y pricing, then you've really got to have something special because, yeah, I know I drive a Model Y and so do you,
yeah.
but it is a far superior car.
Mm.
So you've got to make this price reasonable. But,
Yep.
I mean, BYD, they're growing rapidly.
Mm.
They had massive sales so far this year. And if you look at just their EVs, they're catching up with Teslas very, very quickly.
Very good.
So yeah, this is the BYD C Line 7. Don't confuse it with the 6.
Oh, mate. I just laugh at the names because I've got young kids, right? And whenever I hear an animal, I just think of the noise that that animal makes. So I hear BYD 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've got their
The
Ocean
BYD
series.
dolphin. Sorry to all the viewers out there for that
You
terrible.
do that very well, Chris.
Yeah.
You really do.
Like that. You know?
Oh, excellent.
Yes. I'm sorry for my behavior then. Moving on.
Yeah. Right. So if we actually take a look at sales, then in the US, Tesla is the best-selling vehicle by a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. So we got here, this is from Bloomberg. And down here, we've got the EV sales. So this is pure EV. So if you actually add up all of the others, there's still less than the total for Tesla on its own, but they are catching up. Look, I think this is a good thing because the more EVs, the better. And I don't mind if Tesla loses out and becomes second to all the other makes put together. That'll be fine.
It's always an interesting conversation around market share. Yeah, it's kind of like the iPhone.
I know for 5 years people have been saying, "Oh, the competition has arrived."
No.
Yeah.
No.
Where is it?
Yeah. I mean, look, honestly, I do foresee if if major car makers, and I'm looking to the Japanese ones here, hello Toyota, if they finally pivot and if they can succeed and they can financially do it, good luck to them. If they do, no doubt they'll be able to mass produce for super cheap, high profit margin electric cars. People like the Toyotas, and they will go from one Toyota to the next, even though there's better offerings. And you know, Toyota, what they make 9 million cars a year, so they easily surpass Tesla. But that's decreasing year on year. What with the Tesla Model Y being the most popular SUV
In the world.
in the world, yeah. So it just goes to show that if you snooze, you will lose, Toyota.
Yeah.
So,
Look, when cars were, you know, go back to the 50s, 60s, it was your Fords and your General Motors and what have you. Then you started to get the Toyotas and the Mazdas in, and they were basically boxes of poo-poo. And gradually they got it right, and they were really good cars and put things like Holden and Fords to shame with what they were doing with their cars and their pricing. And then I remember
1990s.
Korean cars came through,
Mm.
and they were danger boxes. They
Yep.
were
Bad.
terrible.
Poor
But
quality.
now, just look at them. They are phenomenal.
Yep.
And now we've got the Chinese cars. We've had those coming into this country. There was a little Geely or Geely thing that came in that got -1 star rating. It was terrible. It
Yeah.
was a danger, but it was cheap. You know, $5,000 for a car. But now Chinese manufacturers are getting the idea and are doing some lovely cars. Just look at BYD. I mean, they're just phenomenal cars. Neo. I drove a Neo when I was in Norway. Bloody hell, that's a nice car. That I was thoroughly impressed. It was a Neo ES8, Neo or Nio. So it's their large SUV, which is a bit like the Kia EV9. That sort of size. Geez, that thing was beautiful to drive. So you know, they're getting the idea. So it was American, then it was Japanese, then it was Korean, now it's Chinese. So yeah, the competition is coming, and it's nearly here, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, yeah, bring it, I say. You know, like as much as I tell everyone, you know, if you want the best electric car experience right now, you just go Tesla. But that's with a caveat, and you know, it might be the quality, it might be your hate of Elon Musk. I don't know what it is. But anyway, that said, there are plenty of other very good electric car offerings. There's just, you know, some always a little asterisk in the corner. And it's kind of like, if you want the easy charging experience, go Tesla. You want best autopilot or lane keep assist cruise control, autopilot, you go Tesla. It's you know, it's an interesting conversation I have with people, because they're like,
if you want the binnacle and heads up display and so on, and all the buttons, don't go Tesla.
No, definitely not. And that's probably a great little segue, which I might just steal for a second, Nigel, because I know you've got another story. I've just finished a week with the Volvo EX30, and this is just some B-roll footage I've gathered for the video, which I'll put out in 2 or 3 weeks, depends how fast I edit. And it's the most affordable electric car, and it steals everything you could think of from Tesla you could imagine, right? So let me just go back here for a second. Don't know if you can see in that B pillar. So that's, you know, if you go from the front of the car, for people who don't know that, A is this one at the front near the mirror, B is in the center, and C is the back, right? There's a tap spot for the digital, you know, for your RFC card there.
Yes.
Yeah, just like a Tesla. Internally, there's a one screen that controls everything. There's some steering wheel buttons, but that's it. Everything is done through the controls there. And you know, it's running Android Automotive. And it's an interesting experience because unlike Tesla, who developed software in-house and are basically a technology company, this shows what happens when you have a car maker who doesn't have control over the stuff that goes into their cars, you know. So yeah, it was
How much is that one?
well, yeah, okay. Let me stop sharing the screen because it's dramatic moment. Okay, all right. So
Drum roll.
but drum roll. Before on-road costs, $60,000. Great. On-road costs in Victoria, $67,000. But you don't want that one. No. Spoiler alert, I just ruined my video. You need to put on the Ultra Pack, which is about $4,000 or 4.5 in change, which then with taxes brings it up to about a $74,000 car drive away. Again, Victorian pricing. And that's then comparable to a Tesla Model 3 or a baby Model Y. Yeah, actually, I should have said this in the video. It's similar size to the Atto 3. There you go. So it's a compact SUV. It's
slightly smaller than a Model Y.
Way smaller. It's actually smaller than my MG ZSEV. Like I had them lined up in the garage, and it was about a good that much. That's 30 centimeters for people playing at home. That much shorter than my MG. So it's a small compact thing. It's an electric platform. It's bespoke electric platform. Its ride and handling is a dream. It handles so good. Oh my gosh.
Volvo make good cars.
They do, and the autopilot equivalent is very good as well. It's just not Tesla quality again. So that brings us back to this issue. It's like, well, what do you want? You want the best electric vehicle now? You go Tesla. Anyway, so I sidetracked. Back to you now.
Look, as I said, I like Volvo car. I used to own a Volvo many years ago. We're going back to the 70s. I think I had a Volvo 240, big boxy thing.
Yeah.
They were nice cars.
Mm.
They were big and solid and safe. So yeah, but I think that is probably overpriced when you compare it with a Model Y, which works out a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it's like 67,000 now. Drive away in Victoria.
Yeah, well, you've got 62,000 for a Model Y standard rear-wheel drive base model here. So in WA.
Yeah, but that's before on-road costs, right?
No, hold on. Model Y rear-wheel drive in WA, 62,500.
Drive away. Did they drop the price again?
They probably have.
I'm checking Tesla's website now because here's a guy from Car Expert. I forget his name. Oh, they did. They dropped the price again. So yeah, $61,200 drive away now. So yeah, it makes it very hard to recommend the Volvo, especially when you can get a larger car that's better.
I mean, for those people that go, "Oh, I can't stand Elon Musk, don't want to buy a Tesla," well, fine, then you've got other options. But as you say, I think if you want to get the best value for money at the moment, it's got to be a Tesla.
Yeah, exactly.
It does. Whatever people say, and no doubt we'll get a few comments below. Fanboys. No, it's just.
No, I'm not a fanboy.
Chris and I have driven many electric vehicles. I mean, how many did we test drive at the Sydney show?
Lots.
Yeah, we did do a few. Now, the Aura Cat was a really nice car. The Kia EV9 was a really nice car. But I still like my Model Y.
Yeah.
If I was to get a second small EV for the wife, it would probably be an Aura Cat or something like that at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Or BYD, I reckon.
Or a Golf.
No one pedal driving though. That annoys me with BYD. But yeah, I think the thing that people need to remember here is that Elon is just, I know he's the CEO and he's got stock options and you're basically giving him money, but think of the engineers who made that car,
Yeah.
And,
Look, buy Tesla because my shares have gone up very nicely in the last day or so. Have you seen what the shares have gone up to?
Don't care.
You haven't got any, have you?
Nah, sold mine.
210. Okay, I didn't say that.
It was higher because
It's been a
I
lot higher than that,
definitely,
admittedly.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I basically broke even after about 18 months of ownership. So I thought, yeah,
Well, I'm very nicely ahead at the moment, thank you.
mm,
Anyway, let's get off that and we'll get down to this last story,
yeah,
which is another electric vehicle. Now, the Ford Explorer. A
hmm.
friend of mine used to have the petrol or diesel version, and it blew up on him, so he called it the Ford Exploder.
Love it. Good play
Yeah,
on words. Clever, clever.
good play on words. Yeah, so hopefully this isn't going to be the same. But I mean, the Ford Explorer is quite a good-sized SUV, and you know, it's good, seems to have some good stats there. 77 kilowatt hour battery and over 600 kilometers WLTP,
I'm impressed.
which stands for what? Less than predicted. Um,
I like that one.
so it's probably, look, 500 real world range, probably about
Mm,
20%, I'd say, for WLTP.
yeah,
Now the problem is it's only got 135 kilowatt fast DC charging.
yeah, a bit
That
average.
it's a bit average. Look, a year ago I was saying, oh, you need to have at least 100, but now I reckon you've got to have 150 to 170
Agreed. Yeah,
kilowatt fast DC charging speed.
yeah.
Um, and in Europe it's priced from about 50,000 euros, which is about 80,000 or just over Australian dollars.
But you see, the
Um,
Explorer, the petrol ones, and they're already very expensive over here. They're the big vehicles, right? They're like people
yeah,
mover thing. The big hunk of, like the massive. I see them on the road, and I just think to myself, why do you need such a large car?
yeah. So I'm not sure that this is the full size like the Explorer petrol one is.
Hmm.
Um, it's got 4.7 meter length.
That's
Um,
a
and
while.
yeah, so I mean, you've got all wheel drive and rear wheel drive, bit more power on the all wheel drive. 5.3 seconds, 0 to 100 or 62 miles per hour. Top
Hmm.
speed 180. That's just over 100 and 110 miles an hour, or give or take a bit.
Hmm.
Range, yeah, the all-wheel drive has got slightly larger battery in it. 2 kilowatt hours. I mean, really? Was it worth it?
No, not really. But
Um,
I'll hesitate a guess here. That's probably the published usable battery, right? But they've probably both got maybe an 82 kilowatt hour battery in them, and they're reserving anywhere between 3 and 5 kilowatt hours of energy. Like
yeah,
the Volvo,
that's
yeah, the Volvo EX30 had in reserve 5 kilowatt hours of energy. That was extraordinary, I feel.
yeah. Pete, they don't actually usually specify it. It's nice to know, but what you
Mm,
need is the usable battery because
yeah,
the other is not usable, so you don't need to know about it.
yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
like your petrol, you've got a reserve tank, but you shouldn't really be using it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, and
and
remember the old Tesla Model S and X, they used to have, they brought out the same car, but they did a software limitation that you would
yes,
have a 75 versus the 100, I think it was.
yeah, they had a 75, a 90, and 100.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you could pay extra to unlock the extra bit of battery.
Yeah. And they're quoting charge times 10 to 80%. Is it 10 to 80 or 20 to 80 that?
No, I'm seeing more and more these days, 10 to 80 in the specs. Like the Volvo was
Hmm,
like, I think even Tesla does that now. Yeah.
yeah. So the all-wheel drive does have a charging capacity DC of 185 kilowatts, which is reasonable. So
Yeah.
it'll do a 26-minute 10 to 80.
That's
So
good. I very much doubt the weight, the range of that, by the way. It looks like a big, heavy vehicle with an underpowered motor. So it's not going to do that well.
yeah, um, I would tend to agree with that. If they've got even an 80 kilowatt hour battery in, it's
Mm,
got to be close to 20 kilowatts per. 100 Ks, which really means it's only got a 400K range.
Yeah.
If it's got 500, then you're down at what's 15.5 to 16 kilowatt hours per 100K,
Yeah.
which is Tesla Model Y territory.
Yeah, no, it's too heavy a battery packs, too smaller motors, too large a vehicle. It's everything's going against a poor little thing. But you know, people who like driving the Explorers, they will love the fact there's an electric offering, and that would do well in Australia. I reckon that would do really well.
I'm sure it will. So, you know, one day it will come here and
And can I talk about isn't the MEB platform VWs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
they've got an agreement with VW,
yeah.
cooperation agreement.
In the paragraph there it is.
Yeah, this is going to be released in Europe, and they are talking about bringing it to Australia sometime, maybe next year or the year after. But I just think, you know, all these EVs that are coming through is good. The more EVs we have, the better.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
On that note, that's a good one, Nige. I've got to run to the airport soon.
You've got to do the airport run, haven't you?
I do. That's the kind of the unfortunate thing about living about 20 minutes away from it, that you're the designated taxi. I should start charging, you know, do an Uber service.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I mean, it'll be same back time, same back channel next week, but I will be in Thailand, but I'll still be able to get online because I've got a very, very fast internet connection in the condo that I'm renting.
Very good.
And it's faster than what I've got at home.
That's too funny. Oh, you enjoy that, and you have some pack on me, okay? Yeah, thanks.
And I will see you next week.
Yeah,
so
and have a sing a beer.
Carry on, Chris.
Yeah, right. I'll just say have a pad pack and also a sing a beer. Yeah, have the real stuff.
I'm not a big beer drinker, but anyway, I might, because it's very hot and humid out there, so I will need to maintain a fluid intake.
Definitely, yes, that's a fluid. It's legit.
And a nice cold beer may well do the trick. So anyway,
you got my vote.
Yeah, so look, if you're listening on Chris's channel or mine channel, down below, don't forget, there's a like, subscribe, and a ding-dong bell. It doesn't cost you anything, so pretty please go and give them a click. It does help us. And say bye-bye, Chris.
Bye-bye, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Much.
See you next week.
All right, see you later.